Hey Shiksha.
Hello.
Welcome so much to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for gracing us. It's truly an honor to have you here today.
Likewise.
And I know we woke you up early in the morning, so we got you breakfast.
Okay.
But with a twist. You have to work for it a bit.
Interesting. In this life, what is there without work?
Truly. So what we're going to do, I don't know if you've seen the TikTok game where you flip the bottle.
Oh my God, I'm so bad at this.
And don't worry, I'm equally as bad.
In fact, I was watching a video this morning and I was like, how do they do that?
So easily, and then it comes like each time.
Okay.
Yeah, so what we're going to do, instead of eating it, because I'm not sure how fast we'll be able to eat.
Okay.
If you like flip it and it lands upright, you get to pick whichever piece you want first.
Okay, fine.
So I guess the goal is to pick all three.
Right.
So one person might end up with all three, another person with none.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Let's
So
see.
Yeah, since you're the guest.
I haven't had breakfast. I'm hungry. So.
Yeah, you can start. And then this is your plate. You can put it here.
Okay, so I'm supposed to flip it, yeah?
Yes.
Jesus, I'm so bad at this.
It's okay.
Oh, what? You've done this before, haven't you?
No.
Are you sure?
I haven't. I've been eyeing this one.
Oh my God, that's the one I've been eyeing. I've been looking at it since I got here.
Okay.
So there's like a technique that I saw that you used.
Uh-huh.
Well, let me try it. So from here, I was really observing her.
And now that I got that first one, it really looks like I'm rigged. No.
Okay, so let's try it again.
You barely threw it.
How are you doing this?
I feel bad now.
It's okay.
Okay.
Let's try. Let me try again. I don't know. She was swinging it. I was just watching. I was observing. But like, I don't know. How do you like flip it?
Maybe try using less strength.
Okay.
Close enough.
I don't know. Like, I'm nervous now. I don't know how to do this. Okay, I've got one. Not bad.
Not bad.
I've got the biggest one. It's fine.
It's all that matters.
It's all that matters.
Okay, I think now we can go ahead and start.
I think I redeemed myself because I really sucked at this game.
Okay, so Shiksha, welcome once again to the show.
Thank you.
I have to say that you've made me feel so much better about my bottle flipping.
Man, it's not a good way to start the day.
I promise, I'm usually very terrible at it. I know
you've been practicing. I know you've been practicing. It's okay, Wabosha, it's fine.
I haven't. And for those listening to us on the podcast platforms, if you don't know what we're talking about, you can head on over to YouTube and see the fun little challenge that we did. We'll also post it on TikTok and Instagram, so you can check it out on there. We usually have to cut such parts so that the podcast makes more sense to you guys. So on your letter, you took us through your work life and the ups and downs that you went through. So before we get into it, perhaps you can start by reading the letter to us.
Sure. So here it goes. Dear younger self, I know things are tough right now, but I want you to know that everything will be okay. I understand that being fired from your job at 27 at the peak of your career has left you feeling lost and uncertain about the future. A job that you worked so hard to get, a job that you were so passionate and committed to. I know you feel as though it was unfair and you did not want it to end this way. But this is just a temporary setback and you will find your way eventually. I want you to know that the events that have brought you to this point in your life will have a profound impact on who you become. You will learn to be resilient and to never give up on your dreams. You will learn to embrace change and to see challenges as opportunities for growth. Looking back, there are a few things I wish I could tell you. Firstly, don't be too hard on yourself. It's okay to fail and make mistakes. It's all part of the learning process. Don't let the fear of failure hold you back from taking risks and pursuing your passions. Secondly, don't be afraid to ask for help. Reach out to friends and family members for support and guidance. They will be there for you, and their love and encouragement will help you through difficult times. Talk to professionals when you are in a dark place. Lots of other people have experienced what you're going through at this time. You aren't alone. Don't beat yourself up for not having all the answers right now. Trust the journey. Life has a way of working itself out, and everything happens for a reason. The path you're on may not be the easiest, but it will lead you to where you're meant to be. In the coming years, you'll accomplish things you never thought possible. You'll meet incredible people who inspire and challenge you. You will find joy in unexpected places and discover new passions that bring meaning to your life. You will follow new paths that you have never set foot on, and your life will change forever. You'll stumble upon skills and talents that are unique to you, and you will hold the power to make a positive impact on the world. Finally, I want you to know that the events of today will shape who you become in the future. This experience may be difficult right now, but it will make you stronger and more resilient in the long run. You will look back at this time and realize that it was a turning point in your life, a moment that set you on a path towards greater things. So, my dear younger self, be kind to yourself, keep your head up, keep moving forward, have faith in your abilities, and never give up on your dreams. You're capable of great things, and I can't wait to see where life takes you. You are destined for greatness. With love and support, your older self.
So you start your letter with 27-year-old Shiksha,
Yeah.
who had just gotten fired.
Yes.
What job were you working at the time, and what was the process of getting the job? Because you said you had worked really hard to get the job.
So I was obviously working at K24 TV. I was a news anchor, and it was during the pandemic, and COVID had just come about, and there was so much uncertainty in the sense we had been given this notice in May. I had been working at K24 since 2018 actually. I got the job in 2018 September. So let's just take you back to where it all started. So I finished my undergraduate in microbiology and biotechnology, and I knew that this is not what I wanted to do. So in third year, I realized this is not what I would see myself doing in the next 5 years. And I decided to pursue my master's in journalism. So I finished my 4 years, I got my degree, and I went off to the UK to do my master's in journalism. Of course, I had experience in radio presenting, so I kind of knew this is where I wanted to be. And this is what I really am passionate about. So I went off to do my master's. I came back, and when I came back, I thought, I'd have like 5 job letters. Everyone would be waiting for me to come back because I already had the experience in being a media personality, stroke radio presenter. So I thought it'd be very easy to land a job on TV, but it was the complete opposite. I had to write emails. I had to call. I didn't know where to start. I would go for auditions and I wouldn't hear back from them. So I started off hunting in January, and I landed myself a job in September. So 9 months of being unemployed, of being a master's graduate, not having any leads of what is going to go on in the sense you don't know where your next job is going to be. You don't know if you're ever going to get a job. You start being you start feeling very anxious, and sometimes you're in a very dark place. You just don't know if you're ever going to be able to pursue what you dream of doing. So I landed an interview at K24, I think in around June, so 6 months after. They went quiet for 2 months, and then officially they got back to me and I got the job. And then after getting the job, 3 months of screen tests. Every single day I was on air rehearsing and just trying to prove myself that I'm worthy enough to go on air. And officially got on air in mid-September 2018. And then 2020 is when COVID happened. And of course, they were trying to cut costs. The station wasn't making as much money as they were previously. Advertisements weren't there. So it had affected the industry a lot, right? And then that's when we got a notice in May saying that they want to lay off quite a few of us, and we're going to get to know in the next few months. So I remember it was in June, I got a text at 11:30 p.m. saying that, we no longer require your services and you've been laid off. Now, obviously at that time you're confused. You're like, wait, what? I thought I wouldn't be laid off. I thought I'm going to continue with this job because I was putting in my 100%, doing extra hours. I was covering shifts for every single person. Anytime I'd get a call, sometimes I'd be called at 7 p.m. saying, okay, you have to go in at 9 p.m. and I would run to do it because I really thought that going the extra mile will save my job, but it didn't. So yeah, that's what happened.
So at 27, at that time, what were your life goals, work aspirations at that time?
Yeah, I just wanted to be on primetime TV. So I was getting primetime TV shifts on and off. I was sitting in for people. So my goal was to land a primetime slot Monday to Friday. I also, wanted to do more in terms of feature stories. I wanted to be able to cover things that I'm passionate about, health and of course wildlife and science in general. So I really was hoping to like get into it full time. I was also doing TV at the time. I mean radio, I beg your pardon. So I was hoping to quit radio and go into TV like 100%. So those are things that I thought about in 2020, beginning of the year. I was like, you know what? Let's do this properly. I'm really enjoying just being on TV. And I think I want to get into it like 100% and let go of radio.
But why did you feel like at the time you had reached the peak of your career?
Yeah, because I feel like at that time is when people started recognizing me. People started knowing of me. People started watching me. And people were really relating to me in the sense, somebody who's come from just doing 1 p.m. shifts is now doing 9 p.m. shifts and a lot of primetime shows. So I was really just getting to that point where I felt, now people know me. I've proved myself as a 1 p.m. anchor. I've proved myself as a 9 p.m. anchor. And now I thought I would officially get myself that 9 p.m. slot, not just as a substitute, but as, as my job and as my shift. So that didn't happen again.
So now you're at your prime and then unfortunately you lose a job, you get fired. And you said it was because of the pandemic.
Yes.
When COVID happened, but you also said in your letter that you thought that it was quite unfair.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that at that point, you're not the only one who had
of course
gotten
not.
laid off,
It was more than 150 of us.
So why do you feel like for you particular, it was unfair?
I felt that way because, as I said, I was going the extra mile. So anything that the boss would call me to do, I was doing. I was trying to show that I'm 100% committed to my job and I really wanted to be there. And I was doing everything in my ability to just be able to, show them that, listen, I want this job. I want to be here and I want to stay. So I had meetings with them back and forth and they said, oh, we think that, you're a great asset to the company. We want to continue this in the long run. We want to be able to continue doing this with you and you're very valuable to us. Thank you for your services. So when I had that conversation with the bosses, I actually thought, okay, this means I'm safe and I'm going to stay. But little did I know that was not going to be the plan.
Was it your first time getting fired from a job?
Yes, it was my first time. So obviously, the resentment, the pain, the anxiety, everything that I experienced, all those emotions that I felt were new to me. I hadn't felt those ever before. Getting fired from a job is like a bad breakup. It's like being ghosted. Like one fine day, this person is no longer in your life and you don't have that closure. So it's like a routine that you follow and all of a sudden you have no routine in your life. You have no comfort. You don't have that safety net. You don't have that safe spot. You don't have the people that you're so used to seeing every day. The familiarity is taken away from you. So it's just everything happening at once. So many emotions that you have to process all at once. So I think that for me was a first. And I didn't know how to deal with it. I had no idea how to cope with everything that I felt. All those emotions just being, experienced and being felt all at a go was a lot.
And how did your life change now from then on?
Again, as I said, my routine just completely took a 180 turn. It's like, at times when you wake up and you're like, okay, I have to go to work. I have a purpose. I didn't know what to do. I would wake up, I'd stare at the ceiling. I'd be like, so today, what am I doing? What am I cooking? What bread am I baking? Is it banana bread? Because obviously it was COVID. During COVID, you don't know what to do. And I would just create a lot of content. I started doing lots of dance videos just to keep my mind running and not feeling like I'm a waste. Because, you feel that way when you're so used to doing something and then all of a sudden
Suddenly,
it's taken
yeah.
away from you. You feel like you're not worthy. You feel like, this maybe is not my calling. Maybe I should do other things.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not good enough. That's why I was laid off, right? You start questioning yourself and your abilities. So I think that's what happened for me. And then not having a routine doesn't make it any easier.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what to do. You have no purpose. So it's like all these emotions you're feeling, you're procrastinating, you don't know where to pick yourself up, you don't know who to speak to, you can't go out with your friends.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to go out and meet
Isolated.
people. I was isolated. So I just felt like it was probably the worst time to be laid off, because you don't have that escape route. You don't have that, place that you can just vent your energy into.
Yeah. And it also sounds like younger you was a bit shy when it came to asking for help.
I was very shy,
Yeah.
in the sense I would never want to call someone and be like, can you help me? I didn't like asking for help. I thought I had everything figured out.
Yeah.
And I felt like if I asked someone for help, it would make me smaller. That's how I was. I was not vulnerable enough to accept that asking for help is okay.
It's okay.
It doesn't show any less of you. It doesn't show that, you aren't strong. It doesn't show weakness.
Yeah.
It just shows that you're able to like confide in people and just call somebody up and be like, hi, I need this from you. Could you please help me?
Yeah.
Just asking somebody to help you doesn't mean that, you can't do it on your own. Yeah.
It's actually funny that you said it. It hit me right now that I didn't know I have the same issue until like probably last year.
Okay.
When I'd struggle with doing stuff, and then my friend Foy would call me and I'd be ranting. I'd be like, oh my God, I had this. And it's like, why didn't you call me?
Why did you tell me?
Yeah,
I would have
just come and helped you. And it's like, even for tiny things.
Yes.
And there's one time I sat down and I was like, why did I really not just, call her to help?
Imagine.
But for me, it's like I feel I'm bothering you.
Yeah,
I
you
don't want
feel
you
like-
to leave the stuff you're doing to
You
come.
feel like you're taking up too much time.
Yeah.
Time is money these days, right? So you just feel like, I don't want to waste someone's time.
Yeah.
I don't want to bother them. I don't want them to feel like they have to be there for me.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I know what you're feeling, because I had that issue up until I think maybe when this happened, when I lost my job. That's when I was able to now talk to people, open up a little more, and not just feel like I was being a bother.
Yeah. Are there other instances that you can think of right now where you're like, you know what, maybe at this point I should have asked for help?
Of course. At times when you don't know how to do something and you're just learning. So I remember when I first came back from uni and I did not know how to read a teleprompter as well, because obviously you've studied it, but you've never practiced.
Yeah.
I actually had friends who were in the media, and I was just like, okay, maybe I should ask them. But then imposter syndrome would just kick in, and I would be like, no.
Don't ask.
Don't ask, don't do it, because then that just makes you look like you don't know your job, you don't know what you're doing, and you've gone and studied a whole 2 years just to come back and ask someone, how do I do this? They'll be like, what was she doing in school for so long? So I did not want to ask for help to be able to like read the prompter. These little things in terms of fine tuning and just skill that you can ask someone to help with. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, and probably if you asked, there would have been so many people who would have been willing to do it.
Imagine, when I asked, I remember I was speaking to Willis, and when I came back, I made friends with him online and we started chatting, and he was the first person who actually said to me, you know what, I can help you.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do. Do X, Y, Z. There's Michelle Morgan as well, who was on K24 at the time, and I knew her way before I actually even, started this hunt for looking for a job as a TV presenter. So I messaged her and I was like, okay, how do I do this? And she's like, girl, what's wrong? Like, what are you feeling? I'm like, I don't know how to read a prompter naturally. And she just taught me how to do it. And it was so kind of her, and Willis as well. And they were so helpful.
Yeah.
So I feel like people in the industry are not your competition, right? Sometimes you can reach out to people who are doing the same things as you, and they'll be more than willing to help you. They wouldn't think that you're out there to take their job.
Yeah.
There's enough room for all of us. You just need to be find it in you to be able to ask for help, and not think that it's too much to ask for help, or that you're weak to ask someone for help.
So then how did you unlearn? How did you get to that point where now you're like, you know what, it's okay to ask?
Do you know the first time I actually felt like it was okay to ask was when I reached out to these two people, and they said to me that, why didn't you ask us earlier?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wait, are you telling me I can ask you for help without having to pay you for your time and your effort and just being in your space and learning from you and just shadowing you? So I remember I would just watch Michelle read the news. I would go in, just stand in the corner and watch her.
Yeah.
And that really helped boost my confidence. She was so nice to like show me body language and, you know, be able to show where to pose, intonation, how to control my voice. So things like this, you don't learn until someone actually teaches you. And before my screen test, I thought I was a bit ready to go and do a screen test. So I feel like just asking goes a long way. Just try your luck. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Truly.
They'll say no, right?
Yeah.
It's okay. Ask the next person. But don't think that you can't ask someone because they're going to say no, and just the fear of being told no.
Yeah.
You have to unlearn that.
Yeah, truly. And you got into a dark place, and that is when you decided to seek professional help.
Yes.
Was it at a point, or rather, was it only the loss of the job that got you the dark place, or was there anything else going on at the time?
There wasn't really anything going on at the time. I just feel like I had a lot of, PTSD from my past experience at the Westgate Mall. So I was part of the terror attack and I was a victim and I was in there. So I feel like whenever something goes wrong in my life, I just think of that moment.
So it takes you back
takes me back there. So whenever something goes wrong, I just almost immediately fall back to what happened in Westgate, loss of life, loss of property, loss of like a lot of loved ones who I was so close to at that moment. And it takes me back to that point in life where I'm just like, wow, this happened to me. And it was like a chance for me to redeem myself. It was my chance to life again. And then when this happens, I'm just like, I was given that chance and I'm not doing it right, right? So it takes me back. So again, imposter syndrome, PTSD, anxiety, everything just kicks in. And accepting all these things is something that it takes a lot of effort and work, right? You won't just wake up one morning and realize that, oh my God, I have anxiety. Oh my God, I'm depressed. Oh my God, I'm feeling very low. Not because I'm experiencing, a loss of job or a loss of something, but because I have issues that are within and they are deeper embedded in me. And I feel like by the time you get out of just being able to like come out of this place, it takes a lot of you to accept that you have an issue and that you're not okay. So, when we say it's okay to not be okay, that's something that I feel we need to tell everybody out here. It's very okay to not be okay, because sometimes you feel like you're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be this personality that everyone looks up to,
always
and inspires people, so bubbly and vibrant and full of life. And you never have bad days. People actually ask me, do you ever have a bad day?
I get asked that a lot too, and I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah, we're human beings. We wake up sometimes and you don't feel like just getting out of bed. You want to just stay in. You want to not see people. You don't want to like show up. You don't want to dress up. And I feel like that's completely okay, because accepting that is also being very self-aware. And self-awareness is key to healing.
So when you talk about professional help, it's therapy, yes? So at what point did you notice yourself spiraling and you're like, you know what, Shiksha, it's time to like get professional help?
I think when I lost my job, obviously that happened, and I just realized that if I continue in this mental state that I am, and if I let it go, and if I keep moving, and we keep telling ourselves, no, you're fine, you're okay, you'll be okay, just keep moving, just keep pushing, just keep at it. I feel like when people tell you that, they don't tell you what happens to you within, because it just makes it worse, because you're going to keep bottling feelings up inside, and you're going to not be able to want to open up and talk about it. And when you do that, there's going to be a point in your life when you're going to explode. And I feel like for me, this is my breaking point. So when this happened, I let myself, just process everything and all the emotions for, let's say, a month. And after that month, that's when I realized, okay, I need to speak to somebody. And then that's when I got help.
So where did you get the sort of resources, sort of maybe guide you on maybe what therapist to see, and how was that first session like?
We have a very strong community of creators and media personalities and public figures in Kenya, right? And I feel like a lot of us are going through the same things at this point in time. There's a lot of battles that we're all facing within. And I
Yeah.
feel like if you confide in others, people who are in the same space as you, people who do the same job as you, it's very easy to get help. Because I'm sure there's somebody out there who's probably gone through the same thing as you. You know, losing a job is not something that doesn't happen to a lot of people. It happens to everyone out here.
Yeah.
And when it does happen, you know, you just need to find somebody who has probably experienced the same thing and just ask them, look, I'm going through XYZ. What did you do? And they'll be very open enough to tell you and very honest to just help you. So as I said, you just need to be able to find friends and find a community where you can share your experiences with each other without fearing judgment, without fearing that they're gonna like just be like, oh my god, you know, she is just such a weak person. Like, you know, you shouldn't feel that talking to someone and confiding in anybody makes you weak. So I spoke to a lot of other journalists who were also experiencing the same thing at the same time, people who are also working in the same work in the station. And we just decided that we're going to help each other out. We're going to share mental health, you know, resources, in the sense therapists, in the sense counseling, in the sense just try and be there for each other. Because we were like 150 of us, of which a lot of them were my friends. So we made a group chat and we would just talk to each other every single day, just check up on each other and just try and make sure that we're just there for each other in that moment in time, because it was so important. And if I feel like if I was going through this alone, it would be so much harder. But because I had other people who were my friends and my colleagues and people that I'm so comfortable, you know, just sharing my experiences with, it made life so much easier. It made the whole journey, the whole process to heal much easier. So I really thank them for that. And apart from that, I think, you know, just the first session when it comes to therapy, it's just such an eye-opener because you're just talking. You're not even doing much. You're just sharing what you feel. And people don't realize, but it's draining. Because when you get home from that first session of therapy, you want to sleep. I literally took a nap immediately. And I was just like, wow, that was a lot. And then in your next session, it gets easier. It gets easier every session because now you're releasing your emotions. You're unpacking whatever you're feeling inside. It's like you're getting rid of it, and that feeling on its own is just so uplifting. It just makes you feel like your shoulders feel lighter. And you as an individual will feel more refreshed. You know, you'll feel like you are able to do more things and you're more in the moment rather than just like thinking about the past. And you're thinking about, you know, what I want to do in the future. You're more productive. So therapy is very important.
So for me, when it comes to therapy, like I'm very aware that you don't have to be, you know, at rock bottom to go for therapy. But okay, I'm trying to be more open to it. But I don't know if I just have trust issues, but I'm usually like, am I just supposed to sit here and tell this human being all my problems? Do they even actually care? Really? Are they just here for the tea? But like, it's something I'm trying to.
Do you know what helped me? Finding a therapist who's not from Kenya. So my therapist is from the UK. And she is incredible. She doesn't know who I am. She doesn't know anything about me. And maybe that's something that I think as a public figure or as a media personality or just someone who's out here in the public eye, you just feel that you can't trust even a therapist because they know you, right? And they'll probably go and like Google you and, you know, so if somebody who is not in the same vicinity as you, and now Zoom has made life so much easier, right? Did you ever think that you could have therapy on Zoom? Because I did not think that's possible. So I think it just really has opened up so many, you know, possibilities of having therapy online. And that has really worked for me. So maybe if you want, I can hook you up.
Hook me up.
Because my therapist is the best.
And do you feel like at that time you were kind to yourself?
Maybe in the beginning I wasn't. I feel like in the beginning I was very hard on myself. I was blaming me for everything that went wrong. I said, okay, maybe you should have done this better. Maybe you should have worked extra hours. Maybe you should have been on time every time. Maybe you shouldn't have been late that one time. Maybe you shouldn't have skipped work that day. So you see, you keep thinking of the ifs because now you're like hitting yourself up. You know, you're constantly believing that it's your fault, but it's not. So I wasn't kind to myself in the beginning up until I think I let it sink. and I let myself, finally accept that it's over. And that's when I was like, you know what? It wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
Why am I beating myself up over it when there was nothing that I could have done, possibly? I couldn't have avoided a pandemic.
Yeah.
I couldn't have avoided, a mass redundancy. There's nothing that I could have done that I possibly didn't do already to keep myself safe. It was impossible. So I think I just needed to give myself more grace and, let myself heal, and which is totally normal, Wabasha. In life, I feel like we don't let ourselves heal. We think that we should be okay after a breakup in like a day.
Yeah.
We think that, if you've lost your job, you need to pick yourself up and move on. And that's our mindset, because that's what we've been trained to do as human beings. You see someone winning out there on social media and you think that, wow, why are they winning? Why am I not able to do the same thing or even do it better? You're constantly competing, this culture of competing with others, and just letting yourself feel the pressure on social media is what leads us to feeling this way, to be very honest. So if you succumb to the pressure of social media and everyone's success, you're only going to beat yourself down, and you're not ever going to be able to love yourself. Yeah.
And when it comes to social media, I think especially on my Instagram, I'm always saying, please don't get stressed. Even looking at me. I'm only posting my highlights because I'm not going to come and cry on my stories and make people who don't like me happy by seeing me sad. So I'm only posting my best moments. That's the only thing that you guys are seeing.
You're only seeing maybe even 5 minutes of my 24 hours. Right? You don't know what's happening the rest of the day, the rest of the night. You don't know if I'm crying. You don't know if I'm sitting in a dark place and I've switched off the lights and I'm in my bed. I'm feeling low. You don't know any of that. So never let social media bother you. Never let it affect your mental health, because as you said, I won't post my lows on social media. I won't post a video of me crying saying, oh, I'm depressed or I'm anxious. Please help. People do that. And I respect such people for actually sharing their battles on social media, but I'm not one to do that. So I genuinely feel like if someone else out there is doing better than me, if they're getting jobs, if they're at the peak of their career and I have just lost my job, just seeing that, of course, it doesn't make me feel better about myself. That's the truth. But you know what I've learned? I've learned that everyone out there is going through something, and in due time, your time will come. So if you're not where they are, just accept and keep working, and don't push yourself to do something that you can't do and you can't be. You can't be, someone out there who is probably on like 1 million followers and is maybe working at CNN or something. I can't be that person. I can try. I can aspire to be that person. But if it's not my time, it won't happen.
Yeah, it's actually, there's a trend that I had seen at some point on TikTok, like on people's comment section, when someone shares something that's, going really great for them, like maybe they've bought a car, gotten a new house or something like that. I've been seeing a lot of comments where people are like, congratulations, clapping for others until it's my turn. And I've really been seeing it a lot, and I'm like, it's so true. Clap for others until it's your turn, because your turn is coming. You have to believe that your turn
best believe it
coming.
Will. Now, tomorrow, a month later, a year later, but there is something that's destined for all of us. And there's room for all of us. We just need to get the right time. You just need to be at the right time in the right place. And it will happen. Trust me.
And you also mentioned missing out on opportunities because of fear. What are some opportunities looking back right now where you're like, you know what, I didn't do this and it was just fear? Like probably if I gave this thing a chance, I would have done it and done it really well.
YouTube, for instance. When I feel like at that particular time, during COVID, I had so much time in my hands. I was so idle. I just lost my job. I didn't know what I was doing with myself. I started dancing a lot. I started posting a lot of videos on TikTok and Instagram. I feel like in that moment, if I had also focused on YouTube, if I had set up a channel and just talked about my struggles, I feel like people would have related to me, because everyone was going through something or the other, sitting at home. It really messed with our mental health. So I feel like in that time, if I did take up that opportunity and kind of fill that gap, I would have probably been interviewing you as well. Maybe had my own podcast one day. But it's okay, because as I said, if something's not meant for you, it's not meant for you. If something is not supposed to happen at that particular time, for whatever reason, it will happen maybe in the future, but don't beat yourself up. So I do feel like maybe I should have taken up that, grabbed that opportunity and just got on the bandwagon of YouTube and podcasting and tried to make something out of it. But I didn't do it, and that's okay.
Yeah. I normally have this thing where now it's even become like a mantra where whenever I'm afraid, I always just go like, feel the fear, do it anyway, feel the fear, do it anyway.
Okay.
So it goes for a lot of things, like tiny things, like let's say, because I love going to water parks.
Yeah.
So anywhere I go and there's a water park, I'm going to it. So it can be like a really scary ride.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so scared. But, I'm just walking up those steps like,
still gonna
feel
do
the
it.
fear, do it anyway, feel the fear. Because I know if I leave without going on that one ride, I'm going to regret it.
Of course.
Yeah, to bigger things, like even if I'm nervous before coming, for a show like this, I'd just be like, feel the fear, do it anyway. And it's gotten me through a lot of things, like even opening my business where I'm terrified and I'm just like, feel the fear,
do it anyway.
So I wonder, do you have something similar where right now where maybe you can be shy to ask for help or even afraid to go for something? What do you maybe tell yourself or do to get you to do it?
I always just say, what's the worst that can happen? It's going to be a no.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't ask, it's not going to happen. So that's what I do. Like if I'm shooting my shot at something in life, I've learned that, you know what? Just do it. Just try. Trying never hurts anyone, right? If you take that first step, who knows? Somebody will take 10 steps towards you.
Yeah.
And then, something magical can happen. So you always need to be open enough, bold enough to shoot your shot. You always need to make sure that you try, because even if the answer may be no, fear of rejection sometimes really holds us back from doing a lot of things in life. You want to make that call to maybe some CEO and ask them, oh, do you have an opening, right? And you know this person, but you're just like, no, I'm not going to do it because XYZ. Something in the back of your mind is telling you, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But then if you don't do it, you'll never know.
Yeah.
So if you don't do something, you will never know. If you don't try something, if you don't shoot your shot at something, you will never know what the outcome may be. So just do it anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. So like a phoenix, you literally, rose from the ashes, from being fired, being in the pits, and then here you are now back on people's TV screen, and you're a whole TikTok star. How does it feel?
Feels great.
It feels great.
I feel like I'm very proud of myself. This journey hasn't been easy, especially at that point in time. I thought it was the end. It was over. This is it for Shiksha Arora. I've worked so hard to build my brand, and now it's all come tumbling down. This is it. But you know what? I genuinely thank that experience. I thank myself for picking myself up. I am proud of being able to just like gather all the pieces and move and just try and move on to bigger and better things. I actually thank the company that fired me for firing me, because if it wasn't for you, I swear to God, I would not have been able to do all these things that I'm doing right now. I wouldn't have broadened my horizon. I wouldn't have widened my perspective in life and realized that as much as we believe that you're made to do something, as much as I believed I was made to be on TV as a news anchor, as a journalist, I also feel like there's other gifts, there's other talents that I have that I never tapped into. Wasn't it for that one firing? Wasn't it for losing my job? If it weren't for that, I promise you, I would have still been just a news anchor and not a content creator and not a brand ambassador and not a TikToker and not, somebody, the person that I am today. I wouldn't have been moderating, wouldn't have been emceeing. So there's so much that I can say I wouldn't have done if I wasn't fired. So everything that comes in your life happens for a reason. And it may not seem that way at that point in time, but best believe it is for a reason, and it's for a good reason.
And now that we've mentioned TikTok, I just do a fun activity.
Okay, I'm so ready to teach you the new challenge, the new dances, and I can redeem myself for losing in that game, because it's embarrassing.
Well, truly, you will get your payback, because I'm terrible at, I love dancing, but I'm just terrible at it.
A lot of people just say, oh, I'm such a bad dancer, and then they go out there and bust a few moves.
You're about to see for yourself. You're about to see for yourself. So we can quickly learn maybe one dance and then film that, and then we can come back.
Fine, let's do it. So amapiano is like obviously very easy in the sense that's why we're sitting and doing it, because it's like a lot of hand movements and just vibing.
Yeah.
Right? So we can do it while seated.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm being nice. Chosen an easy
I
one.
appreciate it.
So it's literally 1, 2, then 1, 2.
Okay.
So
wait.
1, 2.
1, 2, then
1, 2. So when you do this, like one shoulder goes in front and one goes behind. So ta, 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 exactly. Put your hand out, point, and then look. So you see that, like if we're facing this way, so we go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, da.
Oh, so 3, 4, and then ta.
Yes, so point.
Uh-huh.
So
Is that the whole
5.
dance?
No, there's more. Okay, then from here, you're just doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then lean in front, ta, ta. It's like the chest thing, but really we're not standing, so you can't really see the chest thing.
What was the 1, 2, 3, 4?
1, 2,
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ta, ta, ta. And then like a gun, shooting, shooting, twice or thrice. Ta, 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 ta. And then just this again.
Okay, okay, so
From the top.
what was the first one? Aha, ha.
Ta, 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 ta. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Pa, ta, ta, ta. Shoot. Ta, ta, ta. And then
Okay, can we read to the music? Because I feel like I'll memorize a slower pace.
1, 2. Pa, 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 ta. Ta, 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 ta. 3, 4, 5. Shoot. Pa, ta, ta, ta. That's it.
Okay, 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 okay.
A vibe, energy, just feel it. Okay?
Okay, okay. Wait, we're still practicing.
Oh, okay.
I have to practice like 3 more times.
Fine, again. Pa, pa.
It's so fast.
Shoot. That's it.
Okay, I think it's just this part,
Yeah. It's just point.
but it's a lot faster.
So
than what
point,
I'm doing.
side, look.
Okay.
That's how you just remember it. Point, side, look. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, pa. Ta, 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 ta. Pa. Nice. True, true, true. And go.
It's still this part. It's so fast.
Just literally just 1, 2, 3.
So after the na na.
1, 2, 1,
it's
2, 3.
immediately.
Yes.
Okay.
So na, na. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like a 5-step sequence.
Okay.
Again.
Yeah.
1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it.
Okay.
Better?
One more time. Yeah.
Okay. It's like I'm in school. Teacher.
Teacher, but at this point.
Yes, please. 2.
And it's like I've forgotten everything.
Again, from the top.
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8. I missed the count. We missed the count again. 2, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes.
Okay.
Better?
one more time. Yeah. I wish that was the final one. Okay. Yeah.
It's okay, we're sitting with shield.
Yeah. Damn it.
Again?
Yeah.
1, 2.
You know what? Let's start recording the final one.
Yay! So are we ready? Wabasha?
We're ready.
Are you sure we're ready?
Like 2 rounds ready.
Okay. Make that 5.
Okay.
Round 2. Action.
Why am I now missing everything? I'm like, I was...
Round 3.
Okay.
So
Okay,
it's
fine,
1,
alright.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
We're cool? We're good?
We're good. We're
Let's do it
good. We're good. We're good. That was better.
Consolation, yeah?
That's round 5.
Fine. See, I knew it. I called it.
You called it.
I called it.
Okay.
So
Here
we
we
go?
go. Here we go.
Yay! High five!
Hey, you really
did
did
it.
call it.
She did it.
Okay, back
Back.
to the interview. That was fun. I'm like, I wish that song gets played the next time I'm out and I'm like, guys, look at what I can do. And I'm like, period. But you know what? The thing with TikTok guys,
Yeah.
I've seen how you guys record this because like I hang out with a lot of TikTokers
Yeah.
and sometimes you people don't even use the sound.
Yeah.
You're just like 1, 2, 3 and then you go and do
Just
the
go with
sound later.
numbers.
And I'm just like, guy, how?
The difference between a TikToker and a dancer.
Yeah.
And then somebody who's both. If you're both, it's very easy because, you know, as a dancer, you go with the counts. So everything is 5, 6, 7, 8. So like, you know the beats.
Yeah.
And the count is playing in your head. So that way, you don't even need the music, to be honest. So
You're just, like,
I think you're
counting.
hanging out with some serious dancers.
They really are. Kinayoma. I'm just like,
Oh,
hey.
of course.
Yeah.
I mean, Ioma will probably like even be in bed and doing TikTok dances. Yeah.
Okay, so at what point after everything happened were you like, you know what, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to still chase my dreams.
So I remember now when it came to TV, I think took a back seat. I decided to like stop messaging everyone, stop emailing all the media houses in Kenya, you know, constantly sending my CV out there because I was getting drained. And I decided that, you know, if somebody out there is looking for me and if they want me, because I'd given my CVs everywhere, I'd made those calls, I had sent those emails already.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to keep pushing. So I just decided to like, you know what, let me just take a step back and decide to focus on other things. So I started building my brand on social media. I started posting on my TikTok, on my Instagram. I started just being very intentional with my content. I think that's when I decided that, maybe I could do something on the other side. It doesn't have to be in front of a TV or behind the TV. It could be, you know, on social media. So I decided that now let's just focus on social media and let's try and see where this takes me. And just 2 months of being intentional with my content, posting almost twice or thrice a week, you know, creating videos that people were enjoying, doing lots of dance routines. So basically I was just doing stuff that I loved and I enjoyed. And people ended up enjoying it as well. And I got a call from one client, I think in August. So I lost my job in June and July, August. Yeah. So end of August, I got a call. And September, I'd already started working with one brand. Just in 2 months of working with that particular brand and putting out content and, you know, just being very focused. So what I did was in the beginning, I was like, you know, this is an investment. I treated it like a business. In a business, the first 3 months, you don't make money, right? You have to push, you have to like invest heavily and you have to even sometimes push more than you're getting in return. And that's what I did. So I got a really good team to do my videography, my edits. You know, I've always had some crazy ideas on what kind of content I want to do. So I did some really good content with really good storylines and concepts. And I was very very focused. Like I wanted my content to be different from others. I wanted it to be unique. I wanted to try and make content creation look like it's actually professional. You know, sometimes as content creators, we just take our phones and we just like talk and we're like, oh, buy this product. And then we post it. And I feel like that at that time, people were doing a lot of that. So I was like, okay, how will I stand out from the rest?
Yeah.
How will I do something that will get me noticed by other brands? Even though I don't have that big of a following, I had like maybe 20,000 followers at that time. And I still managed to get noticed by a lot of brands because of the kind of quality that I was putting out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, in 2 months of posting for one brand, of working with one brand, I got calls from 2 more brands. And that's just how it took off.
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, you just have to be very different. Try and stand out. Try and look at what others are doing. Try and see what not to do from their content. And research is everything for me. I spend hours on end just scrolling on my feed, just searching, okay, hair brand. And then I get ads. I want to see what others are doing, especially in the scene that we're in, because the competition is tough for Bosha. There's like, I think more than 10,000, 20,000 influencers out here. Everybody now wants to be a content creator. Everyone wants to make money off social media. So why would a brand choose you and not them? And they have more followers than you, mind you. So you have to try and do things that people aren't doing to be able to get noticed. Yeah.
And how was it like to get back on TV? How was that first day like?
You know, it was such a good feeling. I remember when I got called, I was called by KBC. Now, the mentality that we have, the stereotype that we live in is KBC is so old school. You know, it's for wababas and for like people in the mashinani. It's not for your average Nairobian. It's not for your 30-year-old Nairobian. Nobody would want to watch KBC. So I had I was very reserved in the sense I was like, okay, maybe this might not be the right thing for me, because the brand that I had built was very fun, was very modern, was very, you know, social, outgoing, outspoken. And then all of a sudden, KBC calls me, and every anchor that I've seen from back in the day in KBC was supposed to be like, you know, this serious looking, very authoritative, doesn't smile much. And then here I am, always smiling. I'm just so bubbly. I'm like full of life. And I'm like, will I fit? Does my persona fit their brand? So I had to put in a lot of work to try and change the way people look at KBC. So I took the job because I was just like, this is a new challenge. I love taking on challenges and I love trying to do things that no one would expect me to do. So I'm always out here to do the unexpected. And when people heard KBC, they're like, you? Really? Are you sure that you're going to be the right fit for KBC? Or is KBC the right fit for you? So I think I have changed the narrative in the sense now when people look at KBC and when they see the kind of content we're putting out there on TV as well as on our social media platforms, on my social media platforms, I think everything is kind of changing. Because now people who watch KBC, they don't watch it because they're like, oh, we're just going to get a 60-year-old man who is very serious looking and is very, very rigid and doesn't, you know how to smile once in a while. And now people are seeing me who is like 30 years old and is somebody who is not your usual face of KBC. And I think that has kind of changed the brand a lot. So it's a good feeling to be able to move KBC to different audiences. The younger people are now watching it every Friday. I feel like we've got a younger audience that we've tapped into, which is great. So it's always been a challenge to try and see what I can do with the brand and what the brand can do for me. And I feel like now we're working well. We're working hand in hand.
Yeah, no, but what you're doing is definitely working because
Thank you.
The brand looks a lot
like it's fresh,
cheerful. It looks happy. It looks like, oh my God, I want to come and work there. Especially like the last TikTok you did, the
I got everyone
in it. That it looked like I want to work here now. It looks like such a cool.
It's a healthy work environment, and that's what I had at K24 with the colleagues that I was with, and we were like such a close family, and we used to have so much fun together. So when I lost that, I also lost the healthy environment that you love to work in. So I really miss that. So I was like, you know what, let's try and bring that to my new work environment, and it's working good so far.
That's great. I love it for you. You also mentioned passions that you discovered throughout the period.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you were talking about TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok, content creation, you know, being a director of a video, coming up with a storyline, a different concept, transitions, effects. So I feel like I have really polished my skills. But in my master's, I had learned a lot of these things, you know, social media marketing. I had learned how to direct a video or documentary, but it was very different.
Yeah.
Now here you have to tap into the creative side. So you have to do things and look at things in a different perspective. So I feel like these are things that I've learned on the job once I got all these content creation jobs and gigs that came my way. So I feel like I've now been able to like do things differently as to how I would do them.
Yeah. So just like everyone, or even like me, you got into TikTok 2020 during
because
the pandemic.
Everybody was posting on TikTok. So I was like, let's get on TikTok.
Yeah.
And it's been great so far.
And how is it balancing the two, like being an anchor plus a TikToker? Do you feel like sometimes they clash, or they just mesh easily?
Do you know, I was very, very focused to make sure that the brand doesn't get lost. Like Shiksha Arora, the news anchor, the news presenter doesn't get lost. Because sometimes people can look at me and they're like, this one is not serious. She's always dancing.
Yeah.
And I get those comments a lot. And I'm just like, but when I'm doing my job, I look authoritative, I look credible, I know what I'm doing, and I'm good at it.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to give me credit for that. But at the same time, on my social media, I've come up with this way of meshing the two and just making sure they're intertwined. I call myself the dancing anchor. So I try to like dance as well as be a news anchor and be the credible news anchor that I am. So it's been great. People have really been very warm and they've welcomed me with open arms. And I feel like I've been blessed to have people who see that I can do both.
Yeah.
Of course, I get the one off where someone is just like, huyu kazi yake ni kucheza tu. And I'm just like, but I dance as well as reading the news.
Yeah,
and
you're still getting the work done.
I still get the work done. So why are people so against, you know, somebody who can do 5 things at a go, or somebody who's multi-talented and versatile in what they do? You don't need to be just a news anchor. You can be a news anchor and a dancer. So I'm trying to change that mindset in Kenyans' minds right now. And it's taken quite some time, but I think I've come a long way. Yeah.
Who are some amazing people you've met throughout the journey, and how have they inspired you?
Yeah. So along the journey, I met Betty Callow. And I think Betty Callow was one of the biggest, you know, inspirations, because for me, her persona is very similar to me. She's very bubbly. She's very outgoing. She's very loud, lively. And then she's a news anchor as well.
Yeah.
So when I saw that she's able to get the work done as well as not, you know, suppressing who she is and taking away from how loud and open and lively she is, I was like, even I can do that.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to be someone that I'm not if I'm a news anchor, right? I don't need to be this, as I said, somebody who's very serious, somebody who also has a life outside of being a news anchor. And that's what I think has worked well for me by the way of, you know, mingling, interacting, engaging with someone like Betty. So she's amazing. She's incredible. She's been quite an inspiration throughout my journey. Even when I was, you know, younger, back in the day, I would see her at KTN. I was like, I like her. I like her a lot. And I feel like she is somebody who is just motivating and changing this notion that we have that to be a news anchor, you can't be other things. Yeah?
Yeah.
You can only be a news anchor. So I think she's the one who started it. And I feel like I just was so inspired by her that I'm like, I want to be like her. Yeah.
That's lovely. What is one thing that you have achieved that you never thought was possible?
I feel like social media, because I didn't think that it would be possible to like get millions of views. You know, when you hit 1 million views, people don't realize, but it's hard. Even like to get those 10,000 views, it's a lot of work that goes into it. And you know, as a content creator, social media, I feel like is a full-time job. People don't know that it is, but it is. And you're constantly having to think about the next video.
Yes.
And you're constantly having to think about what will people like to watch and what will get me good engagement. So these are things that you have to do, and you have to create you have to cultivate this you know, this culture where you're constantly thinking about the trends, thinking about your brand, thinking about like how I'm going to get engagement, thinking about how I'm going to market my next product. It's a lot of thinking that you're doing.
Yeah, it's a business.
So it's a business. So I feel like hitting 1 million views for me, I didn't think I'd ever do that. But now there's videos of mine that I've hit like 5 million views, and I'm just like,
wow,
I did that. I did that. So, you know, things like that, I feel like have been achievements, and I don't take them for granted. And I don't take the people who watch me and support my content for granted.
Yeah.
I've honestly been able to like grow this much in this field that I'm in because of those people. So yeah, just need to be thankful and constantly thank the people around you. As much as we have friends and family, I feel like my social media family has become a family that I'm even closer to. Like I wake up and I speak to people every day that I've never met. And these are people who support me every single day. And they say such great things about you. They encourage you. They motivate you to keep going, even on days when you don't feel like shooting content or dressing up for a video. But they're like, you know what? I love your previous video. You did such a good job. How do you think of these things? And these are little things that really just boost you.
Truly, truly. So that's your sign today, to go and comment under your favorite influencers,
Please.
content creators, last posted. Share them on.
You know, we're out here saying, oh, like, comment, subscribe, share, save. But people don't realize the importance of just one comment
it
can
goes
have.
a long way.
It will pay my bills. And as much as I'm trying to feed myself, I'm also putting content that I think will entertain you and will make your day even better and put a smile on your face. So let's help each other. You know, it's as simple as that. It doesn't take you 5 hours to leave a comment, right? It just takes you 2 seconds. So as much as, yes, sometimes you're like, I'm not going to leave a comment. She's always asking for comments, right? Fine, I'm always asking for comments, but I'm also entertaining you and making you smile. So why can't you just be nice? Let's be kind to each other. The same way you're leaving comments on Rihanna's post and Beyonce's post, so you leave on mine.
True.
I'm touchable. You'll see me. I will talk to you. Rihanna will talk to you.
And you end your letter saying that you're destined for greatness. Are there some great things that we should expect from Shiksha soon?
I genuinely want to be a brand that leaves a legacy behind. People will be like, wow, she is somebody who actually bridged the gap. You know, as you know, I'm of Asian descent. I'm of Indian origin, and we have been stereotyped to not mingle with the others, to not mingle with people of other races and people who don't look like us. And I feel like I have broken that stereotype and I've demystified that, because if someone like me and the way I look can mingle with everyone despite your race, religion, you know, I feel like we are looked at in a very this one is the one to talk to me. This one, you know, like untouchable kind of way. But we're not. You know, we're Kenyan. I'm just as Kenyan as you are. And it doesn't, you know, hurt you to come and talk to me. So if you see me out there, come, let's have a conversation. I always want to like talk to younger girls, just, you know, especially girls who are Indian, who are looking for some sort of inspiration or motivation to break the bias, right? So I just want you to know that, you know, you can do it as well. You can break the bias. You can bridge the gap. And we are one at the end of the day. We're all Kenyan despite how we look. And that is something that no one can take away from you, right? I'm Kenyan, you're Kenyan. And we're all out here working together. We've joined hands and we're just trying to create this world where people can live together, can work together, and can be happy together despite how they look, despite their race, despite their religion. So I think that's for me my biggest goal in life, just to be able to like intertwine the two cultures and make something beautiful out of it.
Wow, that's beautiful actually. So you started out the podcast by writing a letter to your younger self. So we normally do a time capsule sort of thing, where you're going to leave a message to 40-year-old Shiksha.
Wow. 10 years from now.
Yes, 10 years from now.
So
we're going to do it to this camera right here. So you can take a minute, gather your thoughts, and then just shoot.
Dear 40-year-old Shiksha, I'm so proud of how far you've come in your career, in your personal life, and how you've been able to balance it all. You've managed to have a family of your own, as well as just being able to build the brand that you've worked so hard for years cultivating and growing. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything that you've done, not just for yourself, for the people around you, and the things that you've done to make your dreams come into a reality. You have really just pushed these last 10 years. And for that, you owe yourself credit. You need to give yourself grace, and you need to just take a step back and enjoy life as it is, because we don't know if we'll have tomorrow. So just remember, as much as you're working super hard to build a brand and to leave a legacy, you also need to give yourself some time out for rest, for self-care, and just really appreciate yourself for what you've been able to do all these years, and just how happy you've managed to live your life. It's very important to be happy, and I think that you've been able to just have happiness as your utmost priority. So cheers to that, and cheers to the next 10 years.
I really love this future self messages.
Yeah.
And I hope in like 10 years, the podcast will have like a spin-off.
That would be so
I can
cool.
call you guys back and I'm like, I got a message.
Honestly, like for me, I do know that in the next 10 years, I want to have a family, and I want to have my kids, and I want to also like be able to just look back with them. And our lives on social media.
Yeah.
Everything that we do is being broadcasted out there on Instagram, on Google, Twitter, and these are things that our parents didn't have. They weren't able to post a picture of themselves when they were 30 because they didn't have these mediums. So it would be so nice to like do this with our children, because we didn't get to do it with our parents. And obviously maybe, at the time when their grandparents and my parents are still there, we'll be able to do this together.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be such a beautiful thing to be able to show your parents, oh, this is what I was doing when I was your age, right? So these are things that I think we're lucky to have as this generation, as millennials. And of course, Gen Z even have it. I guess they'll be able to even have a better life to show their younger ones. But I feel like we as millennials, we've got a good thing going, and we really should appreciate that we have these things that our parents didn't have.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I really do. So it's a wrap. Thank you so much for coming through. I enjoyed it. I really, really did enjoy it.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, I've loved every minute of this particular podcast. It's just such a different and refreshing theme that you have in comparison to other podcasts that I've watched and I've heard. And I have to say, so you're doing a good job. So congratulations to you and the entire team. It's been a phenomenal few hours that we've spent together. And I just feel so uplifted. So it's just so nice sometimes to reflect on your journey, the last 10 years, and also like think about the future. We're doing everything in just one medium. So well done, Mabosha.
Yeah, thank you. You can call your therapist. Tell her I'll bill her. I've done some of her work during this session. You
really have. I feel like I don't need therapy for this week. I'm done.
Yeah. All right. So thank you guys for joining us for this episode. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.